You didn't ruin them. Their stupidity did. You were just the mirror that exposed it. Now imagine this for a moment, chosen one. A room full of adults, people who claim to be wise, independent and conscious, gathering like children in a schoolyard, whispering, pointing and aligning themselves with a reckless fool, not because they believed in the leader, but because they all shared a common hate for you. That's it. That was their only bond. No strategy, no vision, no integrity, just shared bitterness, and it became their ruin. They followed someone with no direction into a place they can't crawl out of, and now they're mad. But not at themselves, not at the one who led them off the cliff. They're mad because you never fell with them. Facts don't lie. Psychology. Today, once published, that groupthink often leads people to override their own logic for the comfort of collective approval, and that's what happened here. These weren't victims. These were willing participants in their own collapse. They saw red flags. They ignored them. They knew the one they followed was erratic, manipulative, even dangerous. But they silenced their instincts just to be part of the takedown, only to now look around, ashamed and humiliated, realizing they threw their own dignity in the trash. For nothing. And thank you, chosen one. Don't forget to pay this message back by simply pressing the like and subscribe button to help spread this truth to more souls. It's the responsibility of all of us to keep this light moving through the dark corners of the world. Your support helps more than you know. Thank you for being part of this mission. You're not just a listener, you're a warrior, a force. Back to the fire. The truth is, this group is pissed off because their whole operation was built on a house of cards, and you're the gust of truth that knocked it all down. They never actually believed in that lunatic they followed. Deep down, they knew something was off. The chaos, the erratic behavior, the constant manipulation, it was all there from the beginning. But they were so consumed with the thought of seeing you fall, they ignored the signs. They bet their own peace, their own safety on a madman's gamble, and now they're bankrupt. Not financially, but spiritually, emotionally, and socially. What's wild is some of them even saw this coming, the breakdown, the collapse, the betrayal. But peer pressure is a dangerous drug, and once they were in too deep, they couldn't back out without looking foolish. So they kept marching, kept nodding, kept co-signing every reckless move until it all blew up in their face. And now they sit in the ruins, furious, not just at their leader, but at themselves for being so easily led. That's what eats them alive. You see, chosen one, when people hate you more than they value their own sanity, that's a sickness. That's not strategy, that's desperation. They didn't follow this lunatic because he was smart or powerful or even charismatic. They followed because he gave them a target, someone to point at, someone to blame, someone to destroy. And now that same hand they cheered for has slammed the door on all of them. And here's the kicker, they still can't admit they were wrong. So they turn on each other, they gossip, they backstab, they look for new scapegoats to bury their shame. But the truth keeps circling back. They lost because of who they chose to follow. And they followed out of hate, not out of truth. And where were you in all this? Sitting still, silent, unbothered. You didn't swing back. You didn't beg for understanding. You didn't stoop. You let them run their circus while you stayed on your throne. That's what made them lose their minds. You were supposed to react. You were supposed to crash. But instead, you rose. You got better. You got wiser. While they were busy plotting, you were healing. While they were celebrating your downfall, you were laying the foundation for your next level. That's what's unforgivable to them, not your success, but your refusal to break. Now, the same ones who mocked you are whispering your name in shame. They can't even look each other in the eye because every glance is a reminder of the fool they all followed. And you're becoming the proof that the universe doesn't play about justice. You're walking evidence that those who dig a grave for someone out of hate often fall into it themselves. You never had to destroy them. They did it to themselves the moment they underestimated your silence and overestimated their numbers. This message isn't just confirmation, chosen one. It's your cosmic receipt. You paid your dues in patience, in isolation, in betrayal, and now the universe is handing you the proof. Those who weaponized their stupidity against you are now the victims of their own ignorance. They came for you in packs, and now not even their group chat can save them. Keep rising. Their anger is just proof that your silence was more powerful than their noise. And listen closely, chosen one. That was just the opening scene. The real fallout? It's only getting started. So if you're ready to see exactly how this delusional group dragged themselves into disgrace while trying to drag you, then stay with me, step by step. Drop a comment below with the number 77 if you're done letting fools throw shade from sinking ships. And if you feel called to, bless the team behind this message with a super thanks. Your support helps keep this truth flowing to every soul still surrounded by wolves in disguise. And now, let's tear this down piece by piece. If you're truly one of the chosen, you'll feel it deep in your bones. This story was written for you. Let's get into it. Number 1. Blind loyalty to a fool. The first mistake that cost them everything. You didn't lose them. They lost themselves trying to impress someone who was never worth following. Let that burn for a moment, chosen one, because that's exactly what happened. These people didn't just make a mistake. They handed over their willpower like it was on clearance, not to a wise leader, not to someone with a vision, but to someone loud, reckless, and empty, a lunatic dressed up in borrowed confidence and fake charisma. They didn't follow power, they followed noise, and now they're choking on the silence of their own regret. They weren't drawn to this person because of greatness. They were seduced by the chaos. Why? Because chaos gave them permission to act out. It gave them a reason to target you without looking inward. They weren't following a visionary. They were chasing a distraction. The louder this lunatic screamed, the more comfortable they felt, because it meant they didn't have to think. They didn't have to examine their own emptiness. They just had to copy, nod, and throw stones in your direction, hoping it would make them feel powerful. Now imagine this. Chosen one, a bunch of grown adults lining up behind someone they barely even respect, someone who constantly crossed lines, exposed their instability, embarrassed them publicly, and they still chose to follow. Why? Because that person hated you loudly, and that was enough. That was their standard. Not logic, not character, not results, just shared hate. That's how shallow their loyalty runs. Psychologists call it projection-based allegiance. It's when people latch onto someone not because of who they are, but because that person mirrors their unresolved wounds. And in this case, their puppet master didn't lead them. He fed their bitterness. He validated their envy. He weaponized their weakness, and they followed him straight into the fire. Blind loyalty isn't just dangerous, it's suicidal when the leader's walking off a cliff and no one has the spine to speak up. This is the tragedy, chosen one. They never stopped to ask questions. They never paused to analyze the path. They just wanted someone to lead the charge against you, and they paid the price, hard. Because that fool they crowned as king, he wasn't a leader. He was a distraction. He wasn't building anything. He was just destroying everything, starting with them. Think of all the stories history has handed us. Think of Jonestown. Over 900 people followed a man named Jim Jones to literal death, drinking poison at his command because they blindly trusted someone they should have questioned. Or even more recently, Fire Festival. Thousands bought into a fantasy sold by a con artist with no experience, just charm and hype. And what did they get? Disaster, embarrassment, loss. Why? Because people ignored the signs. They let the illusion override the truth, just like this group did with the lunatic they followed to your doorstep. So if you're sitting there wondering, why would grown adults do this? Why would they follow someone who was clearly unstable? The answer is simple. Cowards don't think. They follow. They follow to escape responsibility. They follow to feel safe inside the crowd. And they follow the loudest voice in the room when their own voice is too weak to carry a thought. That's what happened here. They handed over their judgment because it felt easier than standing up and thinking for themselves. They thought they were going to win through numbers. They thought you'd crumble because they formed a crowd. But what they didn't realize is that you can gather 100 blind people and still not find your way out of darkness. They thought groupthink would save them, but it only made them louder fools in a collapsing circle. You see, the universe doesn't care about head count. It cares about truth. And you, chosen one, were walking in truth the whole time. This is why they're angry now, not just because they fell, but because they fell so publicly. They followed someone who left them hanging, and the worst part? That person never even cared about them. That lunatic they worshipped was using them as pawns, foot soldiers for a battle they didn't understand. He promised them your downfall. He promised them revenge. But what did they get? Embarrassment, silence, exposure. Now their name is attached to failure. Now their face is tied to the circus. And the world is watching. Some of them lost jobs, reputations, credibility, relationships. They gave it all up because they wanted to believe the noise more than the truth. And now that it's over, they can't even explain how they got here. They don't even remember what the original goal was. That's what blind loyalty does. It makes you forget your own values and walk straight into shame. But you, chosen one, you did what they couldn't. You stood alone. You didn't need a crowd to think for you. You didn't need a movement to validate your identity. You were rooted in your own energy. That's what made you dangerous to them. That's why they tried to attack you in the first place, because they knew they couldn't control you. They knew you didn't need them, and they hated the strength in your solitude. That strength, that's what saved you. While they were busy throwing their weight behind someone unstable, you were sharpening your mind, protecting your peace, and listening to your intuition. And now look, you're still standing. You've outlived the slander, outlasted the gossip, outgrown the need to clap back, and they can't understand how, because their identity was built on your destruction, and without your collapse, they have nothing left. This is the power of being chosen. You don't need to raise your voice to shake the room. You don't need to retaliate to win. You win by staying rooted, by letting fools reveal themselves, and by trusting the universe to flip every lie into a lesson. That's exactly what happened here. Their blind loyalty to a fool didn't just cost them a win, it cost them their masks. Now everyone sees them for what they are. Not strong, not noble, just sheep who followed a wolf in clown's clothing. So when they talk now, it's not about what you did, it's about how stupid they feel. And that sting, it's permanent, because betrayal hurts. But nothing burns more than the realization that you betrayed yourself. All for someone who was never worth a whisper. You didn't have to destroy them, chosen one. You just had to let them walk into their own reflection, and that's exactly what they did. Number 2. Hatred was their compass, and it took them off a cliff. Hate is the cheapest fuel. It burns fast, crashes hard, and leaves nothing but ashes behind. Chosen one, they didn't move against you out of strategy. There was no plan, no mission, no higher calling. It was pure hatred guiding their every step, and like all poisonous energy, it turned on them. They didn't think, they didn't question, they just reacted. And when hate is your compass, it doesn't lead to victory. It leads straight off a cliff. Think about this. A compass works by pointing toward magnetic truth. It's consistent, unshaken, unaffected by storms. But hatred? That's no compass. It's a hallucination in the fog. It promises direction, but delivers destruction. These people didn't join forces against you because they had proof you were wrong, because they knew anything about who you really are, or because they were standing on moral ground. No, they chose their side because it felt good to hate you. It felt powerful to oppose you. It made them feel less invisible, less mediocre. But now they're seeing it for what it was, a cheap thrill that cost them everything real. Now imagine this for a moment, chosen one. People you barely spoke to, people who didn't even know your story, saw you shining from across the room, and instead of asking how you made it, they started plotting ways to break you. They couldn't understand your peace, so they called it fake. They couldn't match your growth, so they called it arrogance. And when they couldn't reach your level, they tried to drag you down to theirs. But here's the plot twist. They fell alone. You see, hate has one major flaw. It always backfires. It's a slow poison in the system, and it doesn't just attack the target. It eats the vessel from the inside. There's a reason why ancient wisdoms warned, holding on to hate is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. That's exactly what they did. They swallowed their own poison while waiting for you to fall, and now they're the ones choking, desperate to breathe above the wreckage they created. Some of them told themselves lies to justify it. You deserve it. You're too full of yourself. You need to be humbled. But let's be honest, it wasn't about you. It was about the fact that your light revealed their shadows. Your calm exposed their chaos. Your authenticity threatened their performance. You didn't harm them, chosen one. You just existed, and that was enough to trigger every piece of insecurity they tried to hide. Science even supports this. Neuroscience has shown that hatred activates the same brain circuits as love, but without the empathy. It's obsessive, it distorts perception, it rewires the brain to see harm as justice. That's what happened here. They weren't seeing you, they were seeing a distorted version of you shaped by their own bitterness, and they convinced themselves that if enough people joined in, they could turn that bitterness into power. But hate can't build empires, it only burns bridges. And now they're standing on scorched ground, wondering why their plans fell apart. They thought hating you would unite them, give them a common goal. But once the high wore off, they were left with each other, empty, resentful, confused. The only thing they had in common was their obsession with your downfall, and without that, they had nothing to stand on. Here's what really tears them up now. You never gave them the satisfaction. You didn't crack. You didn't lose sleep. You didn't spiral. You kept building. You kept healing. You kept rising. While they wasted months, maybe years, as scheming and gossiping, you were investing in yourself. You were getting stronger. You were evolving. That silence, that stillness, it enraged them more than any clapback ever could. Some of them still don't get it. They ask themselves, why didn't it work? We all came together. We were loud. We were relentless. But here's the truth they'll never say out loud. When the foundation of your fight is hatred, it collapses. Always. That's the law. You can't build momentum on resentment. You can't manifest blessings by tearing someone else down. The universe doesn't reward that energy, it exposes it, and that's what's happening now. Exposure. They thought they could take shortcuts by trying to bury you, but all they did was bury themselves. And now they're stuck in a mess of their own making, trying to dig their way out with the same hands they used to point fingers. Some of them are trying to backpedal, rewrite history, pretend they were never involved. But the receipts are there. The screenshots, the whispers, the lies, all of it left a trail, and it's coming back around like karma with a megaphone. You, chosen one, were never the problem. You were the lesson. You were the reminder that real power doesn't scream. It doesn't chase. It doesn't throw dirt. It simply stands tall and lets the universe handle the rest. That's why you're still here. That's why their hate couldn't touch you, because you were never playing their game to begin with. And here's the funny part. The very thing they hated about you, your resilience, your peace, your elevation, is now the thing they secretly admire. But pride won't let them admit it. So instead, they sit in silence, watching you glow from the sidelines, wishing they had chosen differently, wishing they had chosen growth over gossip, healing over hostility. But they didn't. And that decision has a price. You want to know what real strength looks like. It's not reacting when every part of you wants to scream. It's choosing to stay silent while the enemy burns themselves out. It's refusing to lower your vibration to match someone else's dysfunction. And that's what you did, over and over again. So don't doubt yourself, even for a second. You weren't too much. You weren't arrogant. You weren't the villain. You were just ahead of them. You were the mirror showing them what they refused to work on. And rather than face themselves, they tried to destroy the mirror. But you can't kill truth. You can't kill elevation. And you definitely can't kill someone who's already turned pain into power. Let this be your reminder, chosen one. When hatred is their compass, the fall is inevitable. It may look loud at first. It may even shake things for a moment, but it never lasts, and it always comes full circle, always. They followed their hate into a storm, expecting to come out stronger, but all they did was lose themselves in the wind. You stayed grounded. That's why you're still standing. That's why they're falling apart. They let hate steer the wheel. You let truth guide your path. And that's why this chapter ends with you rising and them choking on their own misdirection. Number 3, the illusion of power in numbers. A coward's army always falls first. It doesn't matter how many people surround a lie, it's still a lie, and it will still collapse. Chosen one, let's set the record straight. They thought numbers meant power. They thought gathering a crowd would intimidate you, that forming a circle of cowards, clowns, and copycats around one unstable leader would somehow make them unstoppable. But what they never understood, and what they're learning the hard way, is that unity without truth is just noise. And no matter how loud they shouted, the universe was never listening. They believed numbers would protect them, that if they all said the same lie loud enough, it would become real. But 100 fools in agreement doesn't create wisdom. It just amplifies stupidity. They didn't form a team. They built a human echo chamber. And what they were echoing was hate, lies, projection, and fear. They weren't an army. They were a mob. And mobs always fall fast, because no one's thinking, no one's leading, and no one's brave enough to stand alone. Now imagine it, chosen one, all of them, keyboard warriors, gossipers, fake friends, bitter bystanders, lining up, rehearsing their fake outrage, boosting each other with delusion, clapping when one of them took a shot at you. It gave them a temporary high. It felt like power. But now they're scattering, turning on each other, pretending they were never part of it. trying to quietly delete posts, erase their involvement, or act like they were neutral the whole time. But it's too late. The fall already happened. The parade already turned into a stampede, and now they're getting trampled by their own lies, because numbers can't protect you when truth shows up. And you, chosen one, you are the truth. You didn't need a crowd. You didn't recruit backup. You stood on your own, backed by nothing but the truth, your integrity, and the quiet force of the universe moving pieces behind the scenes. And that was more powerful than any army they could have built. So, if you're wondering, why didn't they win? Why didn't the crowd overpower me? It's because you weren't fighting alone. The universe was with you. Truth was with you. And when you're chosen, even in silence, you're surrounded by unseen protection. You don't need numbers. You are the force they feared. Number 4. The moment they realized, we fought the wrong one. They expected you to fall apart, but your silence became the earthquake that shattered them. Chosen one, nothing haunts the enemy more than the moment they realize they picked the wrong one to come after. They didn't just attack anybody, they attacked someone chosen by the universe, and now that truth is crawling through their skin. You see, they came for you expecting chaos. They wanted a reaction, a breakdown, a fight. But instead, you gave them something they couldn't handle: absolute stillness. You didn't flinch, you didn't respond, you didn't play their game. And that silence, it messed with their heads more than any words ever could. Understand this: when you are truly powerful, you don't need to announce it. You don't need to defend yourself to fools. The most dangerous kind of strength is the one that doesn't break character under pressure. That's you. They thought you'd panic, but you remained calm. They thought you'd lash out, but you chose peace. And in doing so, you exposed them. Because without your collapse, their entire plot lost momentum. Now imagine the look on their faces when they realized you weren't weak, you were wise, you were composed, strategic, protected. They swung wild, expecting a scream. They dropped bait, waiting for a bite. But instead of drama, you gave them distance. And the space you created, that's where their guilt, shame, and regret now echo louder than ever. You're probably wondering, why didn't they stop before it got this far? Because they thought they were fighting someone vulnerable. They mistook your quietness for weakness. They assumed your grace was fear, but now that their weapons failed and you're still rising, they're left with nothing but the realization they chose the wrong opponent. And the universe made sure they felt that. Every time they speak your name now, it's laced with regret. Every time they see you glow up, it's a reminder of how badly they miscalculated. You didn't destroy them, chosen one. You let them destroy themselves by watching them swing at air while you kept building. And that's what burns them most. They fought the wrong one, and now they can't undo the war they started. Number 5. They ignored the red flags because the target wasn't themselves. They saw the fire burning, but smiled because it wasn't at their feet until it spread. Chosen one, they saw the signs. Every red flag was waving like a siren in a storm. The chaos, the manipulation, the twisted mindset of the one they followed. It was never hidden. It wasn't subtle. It wasn't masked. But instead of speaking up or stepping back, they co-signed it. They turned their heads. They laughed. Why? Because the madness wasn't aimed at them. It was coming for you, and in their ignorance, they thought they were safe just because they weren't the target. That's where they made their fatal mistake. They watched that so-called leader mock you, stalk you, lie on your name, create drama out of thin air, and still they clapped, still they followed. Not because they respected this person, but because they wanted to see you crushed. They mistook destruction for leadership. They confused loudness for strength. But all that noise was just a warning, and they missed it. Now imagine this, chosen one, watching a car speed toward a cliff, engine smoking, tires screeching, and instead of getting out, these people jumped in the passenger seat. Why? Because they thought they were going to ride that chaos to your downfall. But that cliff? It wasn't waiting for you. It was waiting for them. And now they're upside down in the wreckage, asking themselves how they didn't see it coming. It's simple. They didn't care what the fire looked like because it didn't burn them at first. But when you align yourself with reckless energy, it always turns back around. Always. The same lies they helped spread are now being used against them. The same manipulation they laughed at is now being used to control them. And the same chaos they encouraged is now swallowing their own lives. That's karma, not punishment, but exposure. You, chosen one, never had to point out the madness. The universe handled that. And now every single one of them has to face the fact that they chose to ignore what was right in front of them because they hated you more than they loved truth. And now truth is making sure they feel every consequence of that decision. Number 6. The dominoes fell, and they were first in line. When fools march behind a fraud, the first to cheer is always the first to fall. Chosen one, this wasn't just a slip-up, this was a full-scale collapse. They lined up like dominoes, shoulder to shoulder behind a leader who had no plan, no integrity, and no brakes. And instead of questioning the direction, they celebrated the destruction. They marched proudly, thinking they were headed toward your downfall, but every step they took was one closer to their own. Let's be honest, they didn't trip over anything new. The signs were already there, the lies were already unraveling, the behavior was already spiraling, but none of them had the spine to step out of line. They were too busy playing backup dancers in someone else's circus, and now that the spotlight has shifted, they're exposed. No more masks, no more pretending. The lunatic they followed has crashed, and the momentum they built up trying to destroy you is now pulling them down with him. Now imagine this, chosen one domino falls. Not a big deal, right? But when the others are lined up blindly behind it, the fall becomes inevitable. That's what they didn't think about. They assumed the madness in front of them wouldn't touch them. They thought they could ride the wave of lies, gossip and manipulation and still walk away clean. But physics and karma don't work like that. When one collapses, the rest follow. That's the rule. And now they're scrambling, trying to distance themselves, trying to deny the role they played. But the damage is done, the alignment is clear, and the universe doesn't miss. Each of them is being handed the exact outcome they helped build. And no amount of excuses can stop the chain reaction they helped set in motion. You, chosen one, were never part of their formation. That's why you didn't fall. While they were lining up like soldiers behind someone unhinged, you were standing in truth, in stillness, in strength. That's why you're still rising. Because you never needed a crowd to carry you, just the universe at your back. And while they tumble in chaos, you walk forward, untouched. Let them fall. They chose their position. Number 7. Now they're turning on each other. Betrayal has no loyalty. The alliance built on gossip will always end in betrayal, because snakes eventually bite each other too. Chosen one, it was only a matter of time. The group that formed so confidently against you, the same ones who laughed together, schemed together, cheered on the madness, are now turning on each other like wild dogs in a cage. And why? Because betrayal has no loyalty. The unity they flaunted was fake from the beginning. It wasn't built on truth, love, or purpose. It was built on envy, fear, and weakness. That means it was always going to collapse from the inside. You see, when people gather around hate instead of healing, they don't bond, they bind, and that binding becomes suffocating when things fall apart. Now, every one of them is looking for someone to blame. Fingers are pointing in every direction except inward. The same people who were calling each other real and solid just weeks ago are now leaking private conversations, exposing each other's lies and tearing apart the very circle they once praised. The chaos they tried to unleash on you, they're drowning in it now. Imagine this for a moment, chosen one, a room full of snakes pretending to be soldiers, each one hoping the other throws the first punch so they can slip out untouched. But when the battle starts turning inward, when the lies start to surface, when the consequences start knocking, there's no escape. Every one of them played a role. Every one of them poured gas on the fire. And now, with the fire burning out of control, they can't act innocent. And the best part, you did nothing to make this happen. You didn't have to clap back. You didn't have to expose receipts. You didn't have to stoop. You just let time do its work. You stayed quiet. You stayed focused. You trusted that when a circle is full of betrayal, it will always fold in on itself. And now it has. So if you're wondering, why are they falling apart now? It's simple. Because betrayal always leaves a trail. Because fake loyalty only lasts until things get real. And because the universe never lets the chosen walk through fire alone. You stayed in alignment. You kept your hands clean. And now the same ones who came for you are destroying each other in the exact way they tried to destroy you. Let them rot in the ruins they built. You were never part of that mess. Number 8. You sat on your throne while they tried to drag you down. Real power doesn't chase chaos. It watches from the throne as fools burn out trying to provoke it. Chosen one, they couldn't understand your silence, so they called it weakness. They mistook your peace for fear, your stillness for defeat. But all along, you were sitting on your throne, untouched, unmoved, unbothered, while they flailed and screamed, desperate for your attention. And now, they're exhausted, unraveling, questioning everything, while you continue to rise. They thought you'd stoop. They thought you'd react. They thought if they poked hard enough, loud enough, long enough, you'd break. But here's what they never understood. You were never playing their game. You weren't in the pit with them. You were building higher, growing silently, healing deeply, expanding inward while they were exploding outward. That's the difference between noise and purpose. They were trying to get a reaction. You were building an empire. Now imagine this, chosen one, while they gathered in packs, whispering your name, trying to bait you into drama, you were tending to your growth like royalty, reading, reflecting, strengthening your mind, cleansing your space, outgrowing old wounds. You didn't have time to respond because your future was calling louder than their chaos. You weren't being passive, you were being powerful. That's what they didn't see coming. The universe knew the truth. That's why you were protected, covered, and guided through every attack. Every lie thrown at you only bounced off the armor of alignment you'd been forging in silence. You didn't need to post a rant, call people out, or defend yourself in public. Your elevation did all the talking, and now, while they're stuck in the same cycle of drama, you're vibrating so high they can't even reach you. You might be asking, but why didn't they see it before? Because people obsessed with dragging others down rarely look up. They didn't expect you to glow in silence. They thought power meant being loud, aggressive, flashy. But real power is calm. It's quiet. It doesn't chase validation. It sits on the throne and lets the noise destroy itself. Let this be your reminder, chosen one. You don't have to swing to win. You don't have to shout to be heard. You don't have to step off your throne to prove you belong there. Stay elevated. Stay still. Stay rooted in your truth. They underestimated you once. They won't make that mistake again. Number 9. Real protection moves in silence. You were covered the entire time. The most dangerous person in the room is the one who doesn't flinch because they know what's standing behind them. Chosen one, what they didn't realize was that you were never standing there unguarded. You weren't alone in that storm. You weren't exposed the way they assumed. They saw you moving quietly, calmly, and they thought you were vulnerable. But your silence was backed by a force they couldn't comprehend. While they were throwing darts, laughing in groups, plotting in shadows, the universe was wrapping you in protection so thick, not even their worst intentions could break through. They thought because they outnumbered you, they had the upper hand, but that's where they misunderstood the entire assignment. You were never fighting flesh with flesh. You were moving with purpose, protected by divine timing, intuition, and the unseen energy that walks with those who walk in truth. That's why nothing they did worked. That's why no matter how many times they circled your name in their mouths, you still slept in peace. Because what's built on light cannot be broken by shadow. Now imagine this, chosen one, an entire army plotting behind your back, rehearsing your downfall, certain that this time they would finally break through. But every move they made, every lie they spread, every setup they planned, got intercepted. They started losing sleep, losing resources, losing each other. And yet there you were, peaceful, protected, prospering. Because every time they tried to come for you, the universe reminded them, this one is off limits. You didn't need to defend yourself because your discernment told you when to step back. You didn't need to retaliate because the universe was already handling it. That's the kind of protection that doesn't make noise. It makes results. It moves in silence, but leaves undeniable proof. You didn't know how every trap missed you, how certain disasters just dissolved, how things worked out in your favor without explanation. That wasn't luck. That was alignment. And now they're confused. How did they survive that? Why isn't anything sticking? But the answer is simple. You were never alone. You were chosen. And when you're chosen, real protection doesn't walk beside you for attention. It surrounds you in silence and strikes when necessary. Let them keep guessing. You were covered the whole time. Number 10. They fell for the same trap they set for you. The trap they built for you became the grave they dug for themselves. Chosen one, this part hurts them the most. The fact that the entire setup, the drama, the fake storylines, the little stunts they rehearsed, all of it was designed to bait you into losing control. They didn't want justice. They didn't want truth. They wanted a reaction, a slip-up. They wanted you to show up angry, defensive, emotional, anything they could use against you, but you never showed up. You didn't walk into their trap. And now? They're the only ones buried in the wreckage. They crafted an ambush, hoping you'd lose your cool. They poked and prodded, trying to drag you into chaos, but you didn't fall for it. You didn't respond to the disrespect, the gossip, the games. You left them talking to themselves. And that silence, that was the moment the trap snapped on them. Because every move they made, every fake post, every whispered lie was built on the assumption that you'd fold. But you didn't. Now imagine this, chosen one. They built the stage, turned on the lights, gathered their audience, and you never walked in. You didn't even RSVP. You refused to dance in their circus. And the longer you stayed silent, the more their desperation exposed them. The bait they set was for someone you used to be, but the evolved version of you. the one who's aligned, grounded, and guided by the universe. That version didn't take the bait. And now their whole show's collapsing without a main character. You might ask, why didn't they stop once they saw it wasn't working? Because they were too far gone. Their ego was louder than logic. They needed you to react. They counted on it. And when you didn't give them what they came for, they turned on each other. The trap became confusion. The lie became exposure. The ambush became a backfire. And the pain they planned for you, it's now chasing them in ways they can't escape. That's the lesson. When your energy is clean and your focus is forward, the universe doesn't let you walk into anything designed to destroy you. It reroutes you, protects you, warns you, and while they were laughing, you were being lifted. They played themselves, and now the silence they once mocked has become the loudest proof that you already won. Number 11, you leveled up. They got left behind in the dust. While they were busy checking your past, you were upgrading your future, and now they can't sit at your table. Chosen one, this is the part they never expected, the part where you evolved so far past their level, they can't even reach you to throw stones anymore. They were watching your old version, the one who used to explain yourself, the one who might have clapped back, the one they thought they knew. But while they were plotting behind closed doors, you were in the lab, rebuilding your peace, sharpening your focus, cutting dead weight, and realigning with your higher path. And now, they're choking on your elevation. They spent so much time analyzing your steps, trying to decode your silence, trying to dig up the old you, that they didn't realize they were falling behind. You weren't just healing, you were upgrading. You were redesigning your entire inner world. You cleaned your space, detoxed your mind, fixed your boundaries, and made sure no crack was left open for chaos to enter. That level of self-work, that's why you're untouchable now. Imagine it, chosen one. They were circling your name while you were circling new goals. They were sending hate while you were clearing your energy. They thought you were being distant because you were broken. But you were distancing yourself to protect your peace. That's why they can't access you now. Because you're no longer operating on the same frequency. They're stuck in drama, and you're operating in discipline. They're messy. You're aligned. And the gap only gets wider. You see, while they were setting up traps, you were cleaning your house, literally and spiritually. You threw away anything that triggered the old you. You changed your habits. You faced your shadows. You broke your own cycles. That's what they didn't see. And now they're mad because they can't bait you back into the version of you they were prepared to attack. You've outgrown the battlefield. You don't even speak the same language anymore. And now they're looking around, confused. Why can't we touch them? Because you did the work. And when you do the work, the universe responds. The same protection they mocked is now the wall they can't get through. You leveled up, chosen one. And they got left behind in the dust, still chasing a version of you that no longer exists. Number 12. Your alchemy scares them. You turn every attack into fuel. They threw fire at you, and you used it to forge a crown. Chosen one, this is what terrifies them the most. Not your confidence, not your silence, not even your glow. It's your alchemy, your ability to take pain, betrayal, humiliation, and hate, and turn it into power. That's the part they can't wrap their heads around. Because they tried to break you. They threw everything they had. Lies, sabotage, smear campaigns, emotional traps. And instead of crumbling, you transformed. Instead of falling apart, you upgraded. You didn't just survive, you evolved. And they were never built for that kind of transformation. They can't understand how someone who went through what you went through is still standing, still rising, still kind, still focused, because they thought those attacks would slow you down, bury your name, crush your spirit. But what they fail to realize is that your soul is built for pressure. You don't collapse, you convert. Every jab only sharpened your awareness. Every betrayal only refined your boundaries. Every setback was turned into a setup. That's not luck. That's alchemy. Now imagine this. Chosen one. They had meetings about you, plotted, schemed, watched, waited, all hoping the storm they sent would drown you. But you became the storm, and now they're drenched in the consequences. You didn't fight fire with fire. You absorbed it. You transmuted it. You turned their chaos into clarity, their hate into hustle, their rejection into redirection. You flipped it all, silently. That's what's driving them insane. The fact that they were your fuel and didn't even know it. And now, they're out of ammunition because nothing they throw seems to work. You don't spiral, you don't panic, you don't clap back, you rise. Again and again, they tried to ruin you, and all they did was activate your transformation. They tried to break your soul, and they ended up sharpening your gift. That's terrifying to people who rely on control, because you've proven you can't be manipulated, provoked, or stopped. This is your power, chosen one. Your alchemy is rare, it's ancient, and it's why the universe walks with you. You don't just heal, you evolve, and they were never built for evolution. That's why they hate watching you win, because you turned every attack into a throne, and now all they can do is watch. And so, chosen one, after everything they tried, you're still standing, wiser, stronger, and 10 steps ahead. Their downfall was their own doing, and your rise was never dependent on their approval. The universe flipped every setup into a stepping stone, and now the dust they kicked up only makes your crown shine brighter. If this message confirmed what you already felt in your spirit, drop 777 in the comments to claim your growth. Like, subscribe, and share this with another chosen one who needs this truth. Let's keep spreading the light, one exposed lie at a time.